shortly. I mean, if you are in the fashion space, I really would say that the next moderator needs no introduction. But in case you have been living under a stone for the past, 30-something years, Latasha Onyebuchi Ungwe is a Nigerian journalist and media personality specializing in lifestyle, fashion, and entertainment. She started her career with major print outlets like This Day Style, Vanguard, Allure, and Pride magazine. In addition to her work, Latasha is the founder of the movement and platform About That Curvy Life, which advocates size diversity and body positivity. Put your hands together for that. Yeah. She has served as editor-in-chief of The Will Downtown magazine insert and has been a tastemaker in Nigeria's fashion and media space. She currently serves as the head of media and PR for AFRIFF, which she has been doing for the past 3 years. The last time myself and her were, I'll say kind of in this kind of situation, I believe, was covering the Met Gala. And I told them, I said, if Latasha is not on my panel, I can't do it with anybody else because she is about that fashion business. So please put your hands together for Latasha Ungwe.
Thank you so much, Shaitan. What an introduction. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. You guys, please, I'm begging you. I've been drinking peppermint tea all day. I need to use the bathroom because of this voice, so help me. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, first of all, to my panelists. I'm going to be introducing them in a minute. Those who were here at the crack of 11, thank you. Thank you to everyone who made it. I'm so excited. This is the second fashion in film panel for AFRIFF. And without taking up too much of your time, I would like to introduce some of our panelists. Like Shaitan said, I've been in this space now. She says 30-something years. How many years I can't be? I beg, I don't know. Honestly speaking, because I'm just 28. But thank you, Shaitan. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. But I have been doing this for a very long time. And it's my pleasure to actually be the one having this conversation at this moment on fashion at AFRIFF, which is a place that is super dear to my heart on a topic that is also extremely dear to my heart. So please give a warm round of applause as I introduce my panelists, and I'll be starting off with none other than the iconic Folake Folarin Akindele. She is the founder of Tiffany Amber. Yes. Now you're talking. Please clock it for her. Thank you. Clock it. I want you next to me. Thank you. I mean that in a very clean way. Seriously. I'll tell you a very, very quick story. I met her brand, Tiffany Amber, when I want to say I was 20. Your brand is how many? Is 20 years old now? 27. Her brand is 27 years old. I met her brand when I was 20, which I'm not going to tell you how many years ago that was, but I was in university and a friend of mine was selling some things that were like on sale. She was a student too, so she was just, I have a few things, and I'm like, what is this brand? And she said, Tiffany Amber. He said, what is Tiffany Amber? It's linen. It was gorgeous. I still have the outfit. 20 years later, I kid you not. If you want quality, if you want longevity, if you want legacy, if you want something that will outlive and you can pass on to your children. If you saw my outfit on opening night, it was Tiffany Amber. So a round of applause for this brand. Okay. My next panelist is... Thank you so much. Ugo, of course, most recently styled Flavor's video and documentary shoot, Afroculture, which will be closing the festival because, of course, this is the Afrobeats meets fashion panel, and so we are so on point. Can I find out if my final panelist is upstairs? She's on her way up. She was already on her way up. but I'll introduce her when she comes through, and we're just going to get started. Welcome everyone to the panel. You have your microphone? So let's get into it. Thank you so much. I'm going to start off with, oh, by the way, this is a conversation that focuses on a practical shift
from like our culture, and when you're authentic in your art expression, the world is going to receive it because it's art. I think that when it comes to the cinema, that's the way to follow. It's by being as authentic as possible. When we are too influenced by the Western expression, the Western way of filming, Western way of capturing and telling stories, I think it takes away from our own authenticity. When you think about like the most iconic African films of all time, you can't help but to think about just like back in the day, you know, like The True Confessions and like these films, like these actresses. What made it so special is because back then you're limited to access because there was no social media and no internet. They were forced to have to just show what they had. This is how we dress. This is how we talk.
We all knew that one Jim Ike face cap, you know, in all the films.
They were forced to be authentic in their expression. And I feel like if we go back to that, being more unapologetic with just showcasing who we are, we can break that barrier and also translate the art in a more authentic way.
Thank you. King Maddie. You know, at the Headies, I was just telling you that I loved your outfit. And I wasn't joking when I said I wrote about it, because I just found that tweet and I'm going to show you. So no cap, for real. She was one of my favorite looks of the night. And she told me today that she started doing her own fashion, her own style. She's making her outfits. What she's wearing today is all her. This is her. So that language that we speak of as part of your performance, you're truly living it. So tell us, when you are preparing for a music video, how involved are you in wardrobe decisions that shape the visual story and tone?
That's a really good question. Okay, before I start talking, like, is everybody up? Is everybody doing okay? Yes. Let me hear you say, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. So, yeah, the question is really important because when it comes to my outfits, especially since I've been more involved with my styling and music videos, I feel like he said, African music is also our mode of expression. So when I create music or I'm telling a story, which is very, very fundamental in my creative process, I like to make sure that the outfit as well has its own part to play. So when it comes to wardrobe and music videos, you know, visualizing what you're saying, you also have to play a part in expressing it without, you know, the actual words being said. So I'm very involved in the process right now. And I also think that fashion in terms of music video is such an important statement because when I'm seen visually, like people can get to, you know, replicate the outfit or be like, oh, I like this. This is a new wave of style, especially from my own personal, you know, point of view. I wear like really, really baggy stuff in contrast to what you said, which is body positivity. I find it that and this is really weird, there's no store in Nigeria that like sells stuff like this, and it's crazy because whenever I have to buy something I have to make it because I feel like they're not inclusive of the versatility that it comes with to be a creative. To be a creative, you can think of yourself in any way possible. We're not all supposed to be the same. Not every female is feminine. Not every male is extensively masculine. So we're supposed to be able to express ourselves daily in whatever we feel comfortable in. When it comes to music videos or when it comes to our day-to-day, that's what I believe.
You know, it's so funny you said that. Growing up, remember my age is still a mystery. But at the time when I grew up, if you people remember, I grew up in Surulere and we had stores like Collectibles and Talk to Me. If you know, you know. And I would go up and down Adiniro Gusaya. I could never find anything that went over at the time, my hips were 52 inches. And I was just like this 16-year-old girl with 52 inches hip. And I couldn't find anything for a 16, 17-year-old girl. And this is actually how I got into sunglasses. Because it was the only thing that I felt could help me express myself. So sunglasses became my refuge. If you can't outdress me, You can't out sunglasses me. That's all I'm saying. Until I started making my own money, I started making my own clothes, I started going thrifting. Really, that's Okrika Market, right? But that's where I found versatility. I learned to shape my tone. I would walk into the market and I would see these men and they're shaking clothes and they knew what I liked already. They would save things for me. So yeah, what you're saying is super important.
100%.
But let me bring that to Auntie Folake. Let me ask you, what would a well-structured Nollywood wardrobe pipeline look like from a fashion designer's point of view?
Hello, everyone. I think Nollywood is a global powerhouse. And for the world to see our content as premium content, our visuals need to reflect that. The wardrobe of characters in films used to be just wear it. But now it tells a story about the character before the character even starts to speak. So to say that there's a defined way, the wardrobe of any particular film needs to look, it depends on the story of the film, what the film is about. I think that Nollywood needs to engage more professional designers with premium brands from the continent to collaborate with them. Just as you said, in the olden days, I don't even remember what anybody wore. Recently, I was part of the costumers for the film FRK, the movie, and I never knew how difficult it was.
So shout out to Nollywood.
Really, we had to do so much research, really immerse yourself into the backstory to be able to project what the world is seeing. It's like the tip of the iceberg. So more of that needs to happen. Oh, I just saw another film recently. Osamede. I was blown away. The amount of work, having worked on a movie before and acted.
Okay.
I was blown away at how much work must have been done before that movie came out. And I'm really, so for going back to your question, so excuse me, I don't hide my age.
I collect the shade.
Sorry, I lose the trail of my thoughts sometimes. I think that for, please ask that question again.
What would a well-structured Nollywood wardrobe pipeline look like from a fashion designer's point of view?
Good collaborative effort with experienced fashion brands. A lot of research. As I said at the beginning, for the world, because we are on the global stage now, for the world to see our content as premium content, our visuals need to reflect that. So it's just working to bring that out.
Let me ask you, you worked on FRK, the movie. What film or what filmmaker would you like to work with again? And what kind of story would you like to tell? Maybe with the Tiffany Amber brand, or maybe just as a costume designer, which means it's not necessarily your brand, but then you would work with others to build something that was for a character.
I don't know. I'm friends with too many filmmakers to name one right now. But in terms of the type of movie, I worked on FRK, the movie, and I was blown away by Osamide. So I think the time...
A period piece.
Period pieces work very well for me.
I can see that.
They tell our story in such a powerful way. I mean, I've watched other films, and sometimes they project our culture in such a decadent way that it's difficult to relate to the story. But then when you watch movies like that, I mean, I think a lot of great producers and directors globally have done some kind of a period movie at some time, at one point or the other, and it gives them a very strong edge over the rest. Yeah.
Thank you. A round of applause for her, please. I'm gonna take this back to Ugo. When you introduce African textiles or concepts into red carpets and magazines, what misconceptions do you encounter from Western styling teams about fit or silhouette? You don't need to say any names, but we would appreciate an example or two.
Let me start by saying that I believe that Lagos, like Nigerian style and fashion, is so incredible. It inspires me so much every day when I come back here and I see what y'all are creating, what's happening. It's next level. But what I feel is the biggest misconception when it comes to African textiles, African style, African clothing is I feel like the Western community, the Western people, they treat our fashion and style like costume rather than couture, right? They don't respect it as fashion, right? What I aim to do, me and a lot of other, innovative young African designers are changing the narrative and the perspective of what people see African clothing and textile as. For so long, when you think about, okay, African clothes, right? The average person, not African, will think big, bold, bright colors, big prints, dashikis. There's a certain style that comes to mind, but it's so much more than that. Like our fabrics, our textiles, our fashion comes from so much more than just what the Europeans have revolutionized it to be with these kente colors, and it's all beautiful, but it's so much diverse. When you go to the north and you see what they're doing in Kano, in those dye pits, the indigos that are being created, when you go to even just where they're creating akwete cloth and ashoke, there's so much diversity to the textures, to the colors that I feel like has not even been scratched the tip of. So it's exciting. I feel like right now the world has their lens on African fashion, on Lagos fashion. Lagos Fashion Week was just this amazing thing that just came through. Sierra came and magnified the impact and the presence of African fashion in the world. But again, I think that we're on the way to disrupting that narrative. Every day, just through these platforms like AFRIFF and Lagos Fashion Week and, all these fashion shows that are happening, the world is getting to see that we are much more than just tie-dye kente cloth. It's much deeper and much richer than that.
But a movie like Coming to America is supremely iconic, especially because of the African angle, and yes, there's the big colors, and yes, there's the and you know what, speaking of big colors and speaking of big personalities, remember when I said you guys will help me save that round of applause for my fourth panelist, the Lady Vodka? Well, she's here, so a round of applause as she makes her way boldly into the room. Thank you, welcome. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm gonna pause on that reference and just catch up with some time. So Jennifer, welcome to our panel.
Thank you.
This is Ugo, and this is King Madi, and this is Madam Akindele, Madam Folake of Tiffany Amber.
Such an honor.
Okay, Jennifer, I'm gonna jump you right into it. Nigerian fashion elements like fabric or color palettes, do you think they should define our cinematic identity globally?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because the core of who we are is we are light. I'm sorry, my voice is a bit shaky. Just give me a few seconds. I think it's important that we announce ourselves because we deserve it. We've earned that right. So everywhere we are, especially with our craft, we shouldn't do it lightly. We need to be bold about it. So I think color is such an important element in everything we do. Every mood board, every set design, there has to be color. It's just a way to, to be honest, I'm just going to leave it there, but yeah, I think we should.
You were part of the iconic shoot for Olamide's album cover.
Yeah, Carpe Diem.
Carpe Diem. I don't know if you guys remember when that came out with the visual was like a feast. It was a table,
Yes,
and it was a feast, and there was food, and it was so decadent and so rich. What was like the inspiration behind that? Because you've worked on film sets as a stylist, you worked even as a video, you've been a video girl and all that, and you've switched into content creation. But bringing it back and working on that, what did that feel like for you? Because it was like a visual movie.
I think with the project with Olamide, it goes way back to when I'd been on his video sets. I had been in his videos as a video vixen before I transitioned to doing fashion, and so he knew that. In fact, I had not done that kind of work before, and he just knew that he could tap into my my potential at that time. He just said, "Hey, I know you can do this. Let me know the ideas you have," and that was how we picked it up. And so putting that album cover together, the whole art direction, he just told me he wanted it to feel like him, and he wanted it to also feel vibrant, and he wanted my take. He just explained the direction, and he said he wanted my take, so he gave me creative freedom to execute. So even most of some things that we got on that set, at the end of the day, we did it like in the moment. I just told my assistant, "Hey, go get this. We need this. I think we need this," and that was how it came together. So it was just freedom of expression on that project, and I think that's what we all need as creatives. We don't need clients who box us in and lord their ideas over us and say, "Hey, this is what I want, and I want you to give me this." So as creatives, we have to be able to express ourselves, no matter the timeline we have to execute on a project. To be able to bring our A game and be able to come alive on a project and just create as we feel. So that project was, I think it was just a vision brought to life. It was just a vision brought to life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tiffany Amber created, and this is for you. Tiffany Amber created the modern African luxury ready-to-wear long before digital globalization. You could call her the grandmother of a lot of what we see today in this space, because your brand has birthed children that have birthed children, and I think your brand maybe even in great-grandmother status now. Not for great-grandmas, but like in terms of what it's done for the culture and how it's moved and the silhouettes that it's brought to life and how those have gone on to be modified and applied and spread out. When an aesthetic then becomes super recognizable, there is the risk of repetition. How do you balance consistency with creative risk when audiences now expect certain silhouettes from you?
Sorry. I think it's important to know that you can't cater for everybody. And the way I've been able to manage it is at any given point, I have one hand on my customers and one hand on creativity. And I try to balance the two. I've been lucky in the sense, well, not lucky. My business acumen is nearly as strong as my creativity. So for me, if it doesn't sell, it's not going up. Because I started a fashion label. I went into fashion to bring then African women in fashion trends as they evolve around the globe. But then I realized that very quickly that I was not a trend follower. That it wasn't my job to follow the trend, it was my job to create it. And so many and, and over the years, we have created so many trends that, you know, when they say that, oh, initially, I used to think, oh, this person copied my design and everything. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. For me, if nobody's copying what you're doing, then you're not doing it right.
Serious.
So,
Big purr.
so I stuck to what I believe is the Tiffany Amber, what I believe, okay. I think fashion is innate. Creativity is innate. You cannot be taught how to be creative. You can only be taught how to enhance it. And over the years, I realized that, I mean, somebody once said to me, Tiffany Amber knows what women want to wear, even before they know what they want to wear. So, so for that reason, I hold on to what I believe got me recognized in the first place. We try our best to evolve with people as they're going, but we never change the DNA of the brand. I don't want to be cool. I don't want to be sexy. I don't want to be anything. I just want to be Tiffany Amber. So,
Absolutely. 27 years of doing that sort of consistency, but still keeping it very, very fresh is incredible. And I want to ask if you feel that the current Afrobeats and Nollywood style moment feel like an evolution of that work, or does it feel like a break into a different era?
I think it's a break into a different era. As I said, you can't cater for everybody. And I think, you know, the Nollywood and Afrobeat movement, it's such a powerful movement on its own that it almost has nothing to do with the fashion. It's a vibe. The fashion is moving, it's walking parallel with them. It's not making them who they are. They are, sorry, I have goosebumps because I feel that the Afrobeat, I personally don't understand. I think, you know, they're so deep in the world of what they do that they just express themselves without any rules whatsoever.
I think you have one sat next to you, so it would be great to be saying this to her face.
Look, okay. So I think that she looks amazing. But you see, I saw what she was wearing the minute I saw her. But then I also saw the woman behind her, what she was. All she did was make this outfit enhance her personality. That personality, if she wore what I'm wearing, I would still get her personality because the vibe is strong. And her vibe, so I do think, could I, off the top of my head, think I could have come up with this outfit? No. But it was what she wanted to support.
What already exists.
Exactly, what already exists. And I think that applies for pretty much for Nollywood. Afrobeat. Afrobeat, I mean.
Profound. There are some that are really feminine. There are some that are mid-tempo classic, like Thames. You know, she has like a classy feel to her. There's Fave. You know, there's different styles to women, and this is just women generally. And then there's me. Yes. So it's also like, I think when it comes to clothing, when it comes to, I'm sorry, what was the question again? She's next to me, so I was just like, what was the question?
Fans look to Afrobeat artists.
Oh, yeah,
Pressure or freedom?
Oh yeah, okay. So I mean, for me, I think it's freedom because it gives us the versatility to choose who we are. I think I like the way like we're all different, especially in the female face. So women can say like, oh, I feel like this is the type of person that I want to dress like. This is the kind of person that encompasses who I am as a person, and that is a representative. And then there's me. There's some people that are like, I don't know, when I wear this, I'm not comfortable, but when I wear this, it properly presents who I am, and then they could flow to the other side. So the fact that there's versatility is very important. The fact that there is representation is very important because people need to understand that they're being heard, they're understood. I feel like without these representations, some people feel odd. They're like, I don't know if I should wear this. I don't know if this is something a girl should wear. But if they see like a King Madi, a Thames, a Fava, Aristar, any female artist dressed in a certain way, it does give them the freedom as well as us to be who they are and be confident and say, yeah, there's somebody out there that is representing me and makes me feel heard and seen. So even without the music, I think, fashion is also a response to confidence in terms of the fans, and to the fans that are looking to us as, fashion inspiration. I think it's good, and it can also be low-key bad. That's what I think, because I think like every human has their style. And I think sometimes it's painfully hard to express yourself when it's not a general accepted style. It's painfully hard to stand out when it's like, I've seen people play with colors like this queen right here. I've seen people go on TikTok and wear like stuff that are so bright and people are like, in Lagos. And it's the thing because it's not normal. So normal isn't like, normal is general and they like normal. They don't like anything that stands too much out of what has been accepted. So I think us as artists representing different types of fashion aesthetics is freedom, and yeah, it's not pressure at all. That's what I think.
Thank you so much for that. Ugo, she said something and Ms. Akindele said something, and I want to piggyback off of that. The Afrobeats look is now heavily copied on TikTok and Pinterest. How can African creatives protect authorship in a way that does not reduce reach or feel like gatekeeping?
Okay, I believe that, and people like her who are here, just showing the way. I think it's important for me to go and tell her story as well. Share her story as well. Tell my peers, my clients about what exists here. And this is the way we can really just take over and own what we're doing here, and not just be a statistic and numbers out there, but we have to also be in control of our numbers ourselves.
Thank you so much. Jennifer, I have one more question for you. What would you say is missing today in the current collaboration between designers, stylists, and filmmakers? And how do you think that gap can be bridged?
I think there needs to be an avenue for more designers and stylists and all the middlemen to be able to meet and get to know each other and build relationships. I feel like we're not quite there yet. There's just very few stylists who have access to designers, and I think it shouldn't be like that.
And the filmmakers?
You need to know, you most likely need to know a designer personally before you can pull pieces or like get to work with them. And sometimes if you don't have like some sort of connect, you might not even get an audience, you might not get a feedback from your email and all of that. So I feel like we need more avenues where it's easier to connect these people, because it's like a wall. Yeah, like a bridge. That bridge the gap is too wide. As of now, I think it's still too wide. So we need more events like this, not just
more AFRIFFs.
Yeah,
but there's
like,
only one
like
AFRIFF.
But like more intimate.
There's only one AFRIFF, honey.
Like very more intimate initiatives is what I mean. Just so the way I met the great in real time like this, like more events like this that get us to so we can collaborate and create magic.
So what I took away from what you said is AFRIFF requires a round of applause.
Yes.
100%. That's what I took away from
Pretty
that.
much, pretty much.
Did you want to say something in response? To that? Yeah, perhaps. Because to be fair, a lot of filmmakers would love to, maybe they see this brand as an aesthetic that can work with something that they're doing, but maybe they don't know how, or maybe they don't know who to. But is it a question of the how and the who, or is it?
I think everything she said was right. It is very difficult. I'm even guilty of that. I don't allow pullouts anymore because it doesn't necessarily do anything from my brand. But what I would like is more structured collaboration where I'm asked, oh, can you do this specifically for this? Not, and then in the past when I did allow it, my clothes are my babies. And I find that people disrespect them quite a bit. They return, it's ripped, it's not taken care of, or it's dirty, and it just doesn't seem right. So, or it's used in a way that's not aligned with the brand ethos, and it then doesn't do anything for us. So, of course, in an ideal world, stylists and designers should be working together, but I think we still need a bit more ground rules to be able to do that cohesively.
I agree.
Well, we'll take questions at this time. So if there's any questions, we'll take maybe 2. Oh, sure. Please, can someone give Chumba a mic? Just take this one.
So I'm not sure in fact, I'm sure it's not a question. Something I'm picking up from the music panels and now this panel, you said something about people not being accessible, like the designers and the creators of this fashion, okay? In music, the filmmakers are saying to the musicians, we can't even access you to get the music for the film, so how do we clear it? They just use it. With fashion is a bit different. You can't use it if you don't have it. I think that, like she said, she doesn't want to do that. You don't pull her clothes because it's her brand, right? Now there's something coming to me. Davido says, you don't always have to use my big songs. I could create songs for what you're doing. And this is just for the audience, really. I could create songs for what you're doing. She's saying the same thing. I could create clothes or costumes for your film. Now, how do the younger, I'm always for the young filmmakers and the younger underdogs, so how do they cope? What do they do? Who is going to make their clothes for them? How would they pull? We have to find that pool she's asking for, and we have to understand that there are bigger people, they're out of that pool. But where is the pool the younger people are going to work with?
They can work with young designers who don't have a name yet, but they're still equally as talented. A new filmmaker in America can't just walk into Gucci and say design for me. I'm not saying I'm Gucci or any other brand. I think, yeah.
But you are though.
I think there's so many creative. I mean, I get to meet so many young designers who have got something really great going for them. The only thing that makes them not be great is discipline. And you'll find that once you start making money, you get discipline. You start realizing that if you do, oh my goodness, I just made 5 naira from this. If I do it again, I could make 10 naira. Oh wow, I just made 100. You start streamlining. So I think the young designers need to be given a chance to rise and shine as well.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Ugo wants to answer.
Oh, okay.
No, I was thinking. This reminds me of our project.
We have someone
a guest on the stage.
Our village people.
Hello.
So, Chum, I remember we were speaking about the fashion studio
Right.
for AFRIFF that we're currently working on. So, in the States, when I'm doing, whether it's costume for a film or dressing someone for red carpet, there are fashion studios and warehouses that are dedicated to renting clothing, right? And this goes from like everything from like eras and just times up into like, you know, all categories. And I feel like this is something that we are working on applying here that will change the game when it comes to like creatives, giving them access to resources and clothing and fashion, right? I mean, someone like, you know, like you gotta know, like you probably wouldn't just hand over your couture collection, but I'm sure there's some pieces that you have that you can, you know, like include into our space to give people access to it. So this is what we're trying to build, you know, a space where we can have, you know, different designers, new, fresh, you know, archives, being able to give access to young filmmakers, stylists, and costumers.
Thank you so much, Ugo and Falake, for that. Are there any other questions from the audience? We have a question in the back, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have more like a comment than a question. I first want to start by thanking AFRIFF and Latasha for this panel session. This is the only panel session that I come for at AFRIFF, and I think it's so interesting that a year after I have my first job as a costume stylist for a film. But the comment that I want to make is that because I had background in film, I could do costume bigger than what they would expect from a stylist. And so I know the tiny details like, oh, I'm trying to show that a woman is an independent woman. And so when she's zipping up her dress, instead of her to turn to her husband and say, help me zip it up, she zips it up herself. But because I understand film, I say, you know what? Let the camera move in a way where I can get the detailing of her doing that. And so I'm seeing the tiny details like the color of her zip and the way that the dress moves. And so fashion isn't just stiff. It isn't just, okay, she's a strong woman, let her have strong textures. It's also in the movement of the film. It's also in the camera framing of the pictures. And so the point that I'm trying to make, especially if we then tie it into music and sound, is the fact that I think that the creative industry in general, you can have your own pocket, but understand the other ones that are surrounding. So if you're a fashion stylist, you also understand how a camera moves. And so when you're making an outfit, you know how you can make it that it can move with the camera. So the story isn't just, it's so integrated. And I think with film and art, it's always in those tiny details that people miss. But overall, I just really want to thank AFRIFF and everybody for conversations like this, because they actually help and inspire people and allow them to see beyond what it may seem like their core is. So shout out to the team.
Thank you so much, Maureen KG. I think that is a wonderful note to bring this panel to a close. If I have any final words from any of my panelists, I want to say again a very big thank you to each and every one of you, to my newest friend King Madi on this panel, because everybody here, I have a collective almost 40 years of knowing each other in total, but this is my newest one. It's like 1 hour long. So thank you. But we have many years to go. We have many AFRIFFs to attend. Amen. And many awards for you to receive, and many collections for you to design. And maybe one day you too will be doing a film, or an Afrobeat film, or, you know, many things to come. Ugo, any final words? I mean, working on the Flavors documentary, what was that like? We're going to be watching that on Friday as the closing film. But tell us a little bit about what that was like.
I mean, honestly, there's nothing more rewarding than bringing my talent back home and working with artists that share the same culture and vision as me. You know, working with Flavor and TG Omori was so fun. It was so dope. Like they allowed me to just go for it. You know, Flavor gave me his direction. He said, I want to revolutionize, you know, what African tradition is. Like, let's make African tradition cool. Like, what does it look like when we go to the village and it's fresh and dope and it's us living? So that was the image, and I'm looking forward to you guys seeing it on Friday. But yeah, as I'm coming more and more to Nigeria, more to Africa, like I want to just open space for all the young designers and young creatives to reach out, you know, hit me up. I want to be a mentor to all of you guys. You know,
always encourages you more. And I don't do panels very often. I don't speak very often. I just always think, let my work do the talking for me. But slowly I'm changing. And this kind of reception allows me to even want to do more.
So can we expect to see like a King Madi, Tiffany Amber, a Tiffany Amber on a King Madi? You never know, right?
You know, she said something earlier. She said, oh, you know, the creative industry needs to mix and everything. In my head, I think, you know, why don't I just have a creative breakfast with everybody? Let us all get to know each other properly. And the truth is, if I wasn't in this room, I wouldn't have thought about that. Yes. So thank you very much for having me.
So we're planning the guest list already. I love it. Thank you. This is what AFRIFF does. It brings together unlikely fellows. You know, you think you have nothing in common, but we have everything in common. We bleed creative. That's it. We bleed creative.
And it was easy for me to say yes when I knew you were coming on. I said it's got to be a cool one. So, so thank you for inspiring me to come on.
I mean, look at it. Different ages, gender, all of it. I love it. Different worlds, but we're all meeting and colliding on the same. Not colliding. We are. It's just so beautiful, and everybody's looking so stylish in their own way. Jennifer, Ugo, King, Miss. Come on, Miss. Come on. We really are the world and the children. Thank you guys so much for sitting with us. Thank you. I know we ran past the time a little bit. I'm looking forward to bringing this panel back next year with another amazing lineup of people. But before that, we'll be doing the breakfast with Folake. You heard it here first. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. So we'll just take pictures very quickly. Thank you, members of the press.
Fantastic. We have our media team taking pictures. You know the drill. You have 1 minute. Choma, please. We need you on stage. This is probably the most stylish panel at AFRIFF. Come on. Come on. You know what? Just for that, I'm giving you guys. She owns Tiffany Amber, so can we say breakfast at Tiffany's? To prepare for the next panel. And I feel like we already came up with